Everyone, welcome back to Build. I'm your host, Brittany Jones Cooper, and today I'm sitting down with Yara Shahidi and Charles Melton. Their new film, The Sun Is Also a Star, follows Natasha and Daniel, two people who meet and fall for each other over one magical day in New York City. It's a touching story that intertwines some important and timely themes that are sure to make you root for love. Take a look.
What does America mean to you?
Your removal is final.
There's nothing you can do.
I'm sorry.
But this is my home. New York is my home. 13.8 billion years ago, the Big Bang created the stars, the planets, the galaxies. Compared to the lifespan of the universe, our lives begin and end in a single day.
I'm Daniel.
Natasha.
We are just ordinary.
What's with the notebooks?
Poems.
Poems. What are they about? Wait, let me guess. Love.
Not all of them.
I don't believe in love.
So no magic, no fate, no meant to be. What if I told you I could get you to fall in love with me? Just give me a day.
An hour.
What are your key ingredients to falling in love? My ingredients are friendship, chemistry, the X factor.
What's the X factor?
Don't worry, we've got it.
You and I, all I know.
This isn't gonna make me change my mind, Mr. Plaid Tie.
Did you just call me Pad Thai?
Plaid Tie?
My family is from Korea, not Thailand.
Well, that is not what I said, so you can stop waiting for an apology.
Oh, I'm waiting for something, but not for an apology.
Now I don't hardly know her, but I think I could love her.
I gotta go.
Natasha, what are you so afraid of?
Listen, I wasn't born here.
What?
My family is leaving tomorrow.
This is real, and I know you feel it too.
The choice we make. The path we choose. We don't have forever. All we have is a single day.
Please put your hands together for Yara Shahidi and Charles Melton.
Hey, everybody. So happy to be here.
Yes, you guys are all amazing. Thank you.
Just so you guys know, they were singing during that trailer. If you want to continue singing, I mean, feel free. This is your karaoke moment.
And I don't hardly know her, but I think I could love her. Crimson and Clover. Okay.
We're actually going on tour. This is why we came here.
Yes.
to
Big
announce-
announcement.
Yeah. Charles and I will be on the Jarl's World Tour.
Yes, be sure. We have a playlist coming out called Jarls. We're working on the title right now, but
So just keep an eye out.
I think you just call it like Jarls Barkley and just like, just throw that in there. People recognizable. I think you should put it on the soundtrack. I can't wait to hear it. I got to see this movie, I think 2 days ago, and I was just so happy throughout. I literally was smiling. It is not only a beautiful film, I mean, it's beautifully directed and shot, but your performances are so sincere and authentic, and the messages in the film are so real and timely, which was my takeaway. You really humanize something like immigration in a way that I think a lot of people are going to connect to. So I want to know first, you guys had the premiere. How was that? What was that like, the energy of people finally getting to see it?
okay. Whenever Yara looks at me, I think, okay, I'll go first. The energy was crazy. We had it at the Grove on Monday, and we both had our families there. It was crazy to just experience that and to see people affected by this film. And just happy and crying and gasping and, it was really great. My mother was there, and that was pretty great. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. No, we had the best time. I think, like Charles said, our family was there. I had a friend fly in from school to surprise me, which was just like, I was on the carpet, started getting teary-eyed. I was like, yes, I'm so excited for the premiere today. Because I was just so shocked. A lot of my friends came out, and I was just, it takes a lot of time to, I mean, even for you all to be here, I mean, it takes planning. You have to carve time out of your day, and so that's no small feat. And then, like, just the energy of not only the premiere, but the screenings that we've been hosting have been so cool because, like, when you shoot it, and then even when you see it, you can never really see it through the eyes of just a genuine audience member. You're sitting there thinking about, like, the day you shot that, what take they used, like, they cut this part. Yeah. And so to actually, I feel like it gave me a new perspective watching it with people who haven't seen it before. That was just so enjoyable.
I think one thing that makes it really special too is your characters are teens, but they're so mature and like well thought out and well developed and nuanced in these really great ways. They're really deep characters. So let's talk about them. Natasha, who is she? Because I loved that we had a girl that's like really smart, into STEM and bold.
Yeah, I mean, you summed her up, but she's extremely driven. Like, I mean, by the time the movie opens, by minute 5, you've seen people say no to her no less than 3 times. And she just keeps going. And I feel like a lot of this movie wouldn't happen if she didn't have that drive and if she didn't feel so committed to what she believes or knows to be true. And so her love of science is amazing. Her just general pragmatism is fun because I think a lot of people have been noting like, oh, it feels like the roles are switched here. But I think like it speaks more to our truth. The amount of young women that I know that share the same kind of drives, share the same kind of passion for whatever they're passionate about. I think Natasha reflects so many of my peers.
And then she meets Daniel, who is equally committed, but just to her, basically.
Yeah. Daniel, yeah, he falls in love with Natasha at first sight, love at first sight, and he's a hopeless romantic. In case you guys didn't know, he's a dreamer. He doesn't have this jaded idea with love, and it's nice to see him throughout the film. It's funny as I'm saying like see him, but it's me playing Daniel. But he has this relentlessness about him where he's not judging himself for the way he loves. He doesn't believe in guarding his heart because why guard something you want? Why do you want to guard something you want to give? Is kind of his mentality. And on this specific day as well, his parents have groomed him to be a doctor, so he is kind of battling between how far is he willing to compromise his own passions and dreams in order to accommodate what his parents have planned for him. And when he meets Natasha, she really just, the cop sirens are pretty cool. We're in New York.
You're in New York.
Yeah. She just definitely brings out other sides of Daniel and just, it's a match made in heaven.
And the director, Rai Russo Young, is phenomenal. Like I said, it's a beautiful film. And I actually read an interview with her, and she actually said, she was like, both of these actors are sort of like their characters in a way, and you guys really breathed that life into them. So do you agree, or do you feel like you're like these characters?
Most definitely. I've kind of settled on that I'm Natasha towards the end of the movie. Like, that's how Yara maneuvers through the world. So I'm not, I think, as cynical as she is. But even her cynicism is well-earned. She's been in a point of constantly being disappointed, not by the people around her, but by the physical, society around her. And so I understand her cynicism, but I think this character arc that she makes is something that I relate to. And by the end of the movie, I'm like, I'm there. I'm with her.
And so your question was again?
Yeah, do you feel like you are like Daniel in any way?
Yeah, definitely. There's a part of, I believe, my romanticism that I really connect with Daniel. Like, obviously, as I've gotten older, I've maybe become a little jaded in a sense, but playing this character, playing Daniel, really helped open that door again as far as just being present and being open to love and just falling in love more often. Whether it's with my mom, when I saw her on the red carpet or getting ready for the premiere or just little things,
You sort of found love while you were filming this, right? In real life, a little bit?
Did I find love while I was
don't know.
filming this? I am in love.
And this is based on a really successful young adult novel by Nicola Yoon. Did you guys read it? Did that help you prepare at all? Or what was that sort of process like for you?
Of course, you have to read the book. We both read the book before reading scripts. And it's really important because I think Nicola does such a beautiful job of contextualizing who these characters are. There's some interstitials in the book where you even get a glimpse into other people's lives, which build into the story of fate. And given there's only so much that you can translate onto screen, but having that book there was just such like a beautiful moment for me to get to learn more about my character. I think even like my Nana, we sent her a copy of the book, and she was like, I think I got Yara's copy because there's so many notes in here. And I mean, mine is fully annotated, and there are notes that are simple as like, oh my gosh, this is me.
Book within a book.
Yeah. No, and then other moments in which I was marking like, where do we have our character departures? And so the book is such a beautiful like way to, whether you've read it before you've seen the movie, haven't read it, I think it's such a lovely like kind of expanding on what we're able to bring to screen.
Definitely, yeah. I took a note out of Yara's book and when I found out they were turning this into a film, took a note out of Yara's book and read it in 2 days. She reads like a book every 2 days. It's crazy. And, it's great when when you get a script, when a book's being adapted into a film, usually you just have the script, but the fact that there was a book that you can really draw from and just really hold the integrity of the characters and just go, there's more depth to your character. There's a little bit more clues as far as the things your character likes to do, certain quirks. I found my character's music taste and the poets that he loved, and really just that wasn't in the script so much, so it was just in the book. So to draw from certain things like that definitely helped with us creating the final product.
Can we talk about the music in this film as well?
Oh yeah.
It's like the best soundtrack I've heard all year.
Thank you. I've been taking vocal lessons for a long time.
Yeah, Charles actually sings every song on the soundtrack. Yeah, it's so epic. And I mean, I wish we could say that we had something to do with it. But what's nice is, Rye, who helped in the editing and the putting together music, is just got a sense of what we loved. And there's some songs on there that I've never heard of before. The opening song is Come by Jane, which is one of my favorite songs. And so when I was watching the film for the first time and heard that play, I was like, I'm done, I'm sold. But I feel like it adds so much to just how we witness or experience New York. And I think whether we like it or not, we're all very auditory people. And so the music cues that they took, whether they be emotional, whether they be the moments in which we're moving fast, I feel like it really enhanced your experience. And it also solidified each character's experience being separate from one another. I feel like there are moments or scenes, whether it's us walking or going about our day, that seem parallel, but our music is different. And it's interesting to see just kind of how you come to understand the characters through those choices.
And I think so often when you walk around New York, you're listening to music anyway. So that's how I felt. It was really sort of, you're transported, because in addition to the love story, it is this love story to New York. You guys filmed all over the city. So what was the coolest place you filmed or the most memorable?
We filmed, everything was on location besides the final day of filming. But personally, honestly, every day was fantastic. Just the city of New York, it was so lively. I mean, there's just people walking in between shots. Like, Yara, funny, we were in Koreatown. And there's a part, you see it in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler, but I'm like, Natasha! Like yelling, and there's just people like looking like, what is going on here? And then we would cut back and we'd have to do it again a few times. And it made it we were really invested in our characters, so it was very real. So people like didn't know what to do. It's like, whoa, is this a movie? Is this not a movie? Is this real life? Like, what's going on here? Who's that crazy guy?
What was it like filming on the subways? Because they're a nightmare here, guys.
Okay, well,
MTA is a nightmare.
Fun fact, there's like a film subway that exists in New York, right around Union Square. It's like a station that's no longer in use. That way we don't interfere anymore with the subway system. We wanted to leave that alone. And so it was interesting because, it was a subway system. There are rats there.
Yep. Big
They
rat.
were our co-stars for some of our scenes.
I remember about the subway. There's maybe a couple of days we filmed in the subway, but we were filming. I think it was on the JZ train. Jay-Z. He got his name from the Jay-Z train, which was really cool. Anyways, fun fact. We had the train for about, I remember we were getting cut on time, the light was going down, and there's a lot of train shots throughout the film. And we had Andrew, who was our B-cam operator, and our cinematographer, Autumn, who is a person of color, which was amazing, phenomenal cinematographer. That's why I look so dreamy and whatnot. But anyhow, she had a camera, and Yara, I was sitting here, Yara's sitting over there, and then we get a notice like, guys, we have 30 minutes to film.
So we just shot nonstop for 30 minutes, shooting 2 different scenes right next to each other because there was so much to get through. So we had 2 different cameras on us, experiencing 2 different parts in the novel.
Yeah. And switching. And like I did like a outfit change as the scene is moving. And like it was
Then
just
we'd
like,
have to switch sides.
yeah.
Like,
And then like Ryan was like coming and like whispering in our ears, like, you know, like saying like blah, 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 you know, and then it was crazy.
Like crazy filming boot camp. I feel like after you can do that, you can do almost anything.
Yeah, it was very organic and very just open and collaborative and wow.
You guys also filmed in Harlem where I live, and there was a hair store, which I have purchased hair from that store, first of all. So thank you for acknowledging it.
Oh, can I say?
What?
Can I just chime in real quick?
Yeah, please.
Another funny story when we were filming at that location. Remember when people would come in?
I just have to send a large apology to everyone on that block who had to go to the hair store today while we were filming because we had to close it. And, you know, it's one of the largest hair stores in I think it is the largest in Harlem. And so lots of people were going throughout the day and they just didn't believe that it was closed because it's like, it's never closed.
And New Yorkers don't care. They're like, what? I don't care. And they're coming like, what's going on here?
And when a woman goes to get her hair, she goes to get her hair.
Right,
You know?
I get it.
She
I've
doesn't
been
want to be
there.
stopped.
No, I've been there. And so it's like, what are they doing in the store? So, I mean, it was really funny because those days were some of the best. We shot the scenes that took place in Harlem the very first couple days, very first week. And it was such a beautiful place to start. Not only just because of the community, I have family that lives there. And so there are a couple like really surreal moments of just being on streets that have been written in our literature for years, being on a street and having somebody stop me to say, oh my gosh, I know your uncle, Olu, who's Naz's father. And it's one of those cool moments of like, I'm running into family. There was one scene.
The cameras were rolling. We're in the middle of the scene. You know, it's live. And then Yara.
So, I mean, I turn around and I'm like, there's a very dapper man. Oh, that is the dapper man. That is Dapper Dan. And so I'm looking and like I have a choice as an actor right now, right? To stay in this scene, which he's very committed to, or go follow my personal passion, Dapper Dan. And so I think in that moment, I literally sprinted to him. There's actually a photo I just posted of like that interaction. So I'm in character, like in my one little outfit. And he's sitting there looking like fly, I think all white suit. But it was just such an incredible moment because it also took people a moment to understand what was happening. Like, wait, she just disappeared. And I don't think they'd ever seen me run so fast throughout the duration of the filming process.
You got to seize those moments. You can't let him walk past you. I understand. I do love the hair store because it was a really amazing avenue for the story to explore the immigration story, which is the main tie, right, through this entire journey. So why was it important for you guys to be a part of a film that is sort of exploring immigration, how it affects different families, and really humanizing it?
Yeah, well, I mean, both Charles and I are first generation on different sides of our family, and so the story of immigration is something that's just close to our hearts because it's how our families were formed, how our communities are formed, how our peer groups are formed. And I think it's so many people's realities, whether you're first generation or not, whether you're many generations in. I think it's impossible to find somebody who does not have a tie to an immigrant, who does not have a deep love for an immigrant, for their global community at large. And so to be able to tell this story was such an honor because the main goal was to humanize. The main goal was to say, I mean, for people who know of our global community and are a part of our global community, we experience stories like this every day. And it was just an honor to bring it to screen because we wanted to take immigration out of what we just refer to as the political, take it out of just like, oh, this is the policy, this is why family separations happen, but really delve into how that affects people, as well as understanding how expansive our community is and how faulty the borders we create are.
You're so amazing. You're so amazing.
I didn't know if you wanted to add anything. You're good?
I did, but then
You
the
look-
clap
yeah.
came, but then I'm like, I really don't, I'm just like not thinking before I'm talking. I'm pulling a Michael Scott from The Office, so I'm just gonna like pump the brakes for a second, but fantastic.
It's all good. Another really important theme that's explored very beautifully is interracial relationships and how complicated they can be because of families. And I thought it was done in a really, again, really beautiful, relatable way. So what does that mean for you to get to tell that story?
I think, you know, it's just, Yara.
Well, I mean, taking a moment. So, first and foremost, what we're representing on screen is an iteration of Nicola, the author's own relationship with her husband, David, who's also an incredible author. And so, I mean, it was very amazing to be able to translate parts of their own relationship onto screen. But also, what I loved most about it was that we're actively trying to find a form of cultural celebration. We have this narrative of I'm connecting with you in spite of all of our differences. I'm relating to you in spite of everything holding us back, which is your identity, how you relate to the world. And I think even though it may seem at the beginning like, oh, we're connecting in spite of our differences, at the end you realize it's because of it. It's because of this shared experience. It's because we've had different experiences. It's because we have deep cultural ties that we're able to connect on this level. And that was what was most important to me, especially when covering the idea of interracial relationships. It's not that we wanted to erase the importance of celebrating your ethnicity, the importance of loving your culture, but this idea of just the interconnectivity that's undeniable. And that, okay, of course there are these universal similarities, but there are these differences that do exist, and they should not be what we think hold us back, but they should be equally as celebrated.
And I did love how you initially see that these two people are very different, but then you're like, no, they're actually quite similar, and their home lives are similar, and they're dealing with those same pressures, and then those are also universal pressures that a lot of teens are dealing with. So it worked on a lot of different levels. The topic of interracial relationships is in the headlines, especially right now because of Mixed-ish and the announcement that that's going to be a show. So how cool is that for you to see the prequel coming out of Blackish?
Yeah, well, I think I found out when everybody else found
really?
out. And it was,
What's happening?
I'll fill you in later.
If you guys don't know, there's going to be a prequel to Blackish based on Rainbow's upbringing called Mixed-ish, about her
Yeah.
growing up biracial.
But, I mean, I really can't. I'm over on Grownish, and so I don't have much to say other than, like, I'm excited to see where it is, and I'll be following like everyone else.
Speaking of Grownish, we've got season 3 coming back soon.
Yes, season 3.
June?
So June 5th, the rest of season 2 airs. So we have 11 more episodes for you all. I'm very excited because the last thing we saw, Zoe's been cut off. It leads to some very interesting episodes because Zoe has an expensive lifestyle. But season 3, we're already going to start shooting it before season 2 even ends. I'm really looking forward to it. I have no clue what's going to happen. I find out, I think, every week when a script gets placed in front of us. But I'm looking forward to just this continual growth that we see from each character. And what I love most about the end of season 2 is that each character is expounded upon in such beautiful ways. And, like, of course, you're following Zoe's journey, but, you know, I have such a lovely ensemble of people that work with me, and each character gets their own very cool storyline. And I think we end up in very different places than where we started off.
That's exciting. I love that. And then over to you, Riverdale had its finale last night, right?
Yes, we did.
What did you think about the finale? Because it was crazy. I don't think
Lots-
Yara can answer this one for you.
Yeah, no. Hey. Yeah, it's crazy. You know, there's so many different moving pieces that go on through Riverdale. If you guys have seen, I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's such a great show. Our showrunner and executive producer Roberto Segura Casa is fantastic, and it definitely sets up for many things coming in season 4 and the following, hopefully. So.
That was a nice coy answer. I appreciate that. You didn't give away any spoilers or anything. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Good response. We're gonna go to the audience. We do have a couple questions before we get out of here. Who do we have first?
Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
doing good. So what I wanted to ask really was, especially since a lot of teen romance movies have been coming out lately, I wanted to know first off, what do you all think is one of the most unique things about this particular one? And also, what are some of your favorite romantic movies?
I think what's really unique about this one specifically, beyond all the timely themes, you know, you go and explore these two diverse human beings and they fall in love. I think just the aspect of 24 hours is different. You know, there's more of a, you know, coincidence, is it fate, destiny? I think that whole concept is very dreamy and very positive.
And I really love how we're able to delve into these two characters' interests through the course of the film. Like, and you'll see this when you watch it, but there's little moments or breaks in which you're really diving into Natasha's love of science and how that's informing how she understands this world. And so there are some just cinematic choices that are made that are very different, and I think contribute to getting to know who these two characters are.
Definitely. And yeah, favorite films. I love Before Sunrise. Great. It also takes span in one night. It's like young Ethan Hawke, and you know The Notebook's great. 51st Dates, Titanic, When Harry Met Sally.
I really loved, I'm trying to think, well, Lion King 2, Love Story, Kovu and Kiara together? What? But I'd also have to say, Moonlight, I think, is one of my favorites for obvious reasons. You know, I'd like to think I'm not a crier, but that knocked me out. And then I'm trying to think. I feel like there's so many right now, and I need to first read up on some of the classics, such as The Notebook.
I'm going to send you. Wait, I always forget.
Wait,
every day.
wait. Have you haven't seen
I
it?
for sure
or-
have seen The Notebook.
No one. Yeah, she's seen The Notebook. Nobody.
I have
Relax.
most definitely seen it. I love that scene.
that one scene in the boat, right? That one.
The one in the boat when he sees her again and the beard's grown out, and she's like, "I
And
wrote
he's like,
to you."
I built this.
Oh, yep, he built
that
it.
part.
Yeah, and
I know you know.
if I'm a bird, you're a bird.
We know you know.
Yep. Oh, right, because there's that bird story.
Yeah.
Next question.
Hi, guys. So my name is Nettie, and first of all, Yara, I just want to say that I am a fan of everything you do and everything that
Thank
you stand
you.
for. It's so inspiring to me.
Oh, I so
Everyone.
appreciate it.
Yeah. So I was wondering, what has inspired you, or who has inspired you to take on acting as a career?
Well, we both have very supportive families, and I got into this through my family and with my family. My baba, so my father, he's a DP director, and my mama is a commercial actress. She's there, and I've worked with my brothers my entire life. Like me and Saeed, me and my middle brother have played siblings in so many things. And so it really started as just like the fun thing that we do together as a family, still pursued every other interest. And I don't know if I've ever been like, oh, this is exactly what I'm doing for the rest of my life. But that's what I love most about this journey, is that I got into this because of my parents, but not for the obvious reasons, but because they always encouraged me to read. I didn't watch much television growing up. Still, I mean, we just saw the movie I haven't seen yet. So, like, we just saw what went down a second ago. There's a lot of things I haven't seen, but I've always been encouraged to read, to love storytelling. And so I think because of like the alternate curricula they set up for me, in which I was reading books in which I saw myself reflected, in which I saw people that I weren't reflected, when I saw communities that I'm so unfamiliar with, that's what really encouraged me to continue to partake in storytelling.
No, okay.
Oh.
I said both of you, but
Oh. I was just. You're so amazing. You're so beautiful. Yeah. So acting.
Yeah, what inspired you to kind of take it on as a career?
I grew up a military kid, and I traveled around and really didn't have too many friends growing up. And so my best friend was the movie theaters and going to the movie theaters with my family every weekend. And there's just something about being in a dark room with popcorn and a soda and some candy, getting lost into a story, finding versions of yourself in different characters that really inspired me. It brought like this sense of belonging. And to be a part of that with, TV in this film industry. And I just wanted to be on I was like, Dad, I want to do that. He was like, all right, son, just stay focused and it'll happen. And now I'm here talking to all you lovely people with Yara. My gosh.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi, I'm Jasmine. I love you guys so much. Yara, you're such an inspiration to me.
Thank you.
But my question for you guys is that there's been like a really big trend of like books to movies like for years now. So how does it feel to be a part of that?
It's really fun because, like I said before, I got into this because of books. Like I understood what storytelling was because of what people wrote on pages, and to be trusted with something that somebody wrote. And the process of writing a book is no small feat. And so this idea that Nicola was able to turn to us and say, I trust you with this, was just the biggest honor. And in terms of the larger trend, I think it's also kind of indicative of just how nuanced books can be, and this idea that we're always looking for more nuanced stories. And so we're turning to books as a more accessible platform to start delving into stories that we haven't seen before. And so it has been cool to be a part of that. It has been cool to turn to so many major films that are being made off of books that are also major films because you're seeing things you've never seen before on screen.
Is there a book that you love that you would love to see turned into a film that you would want to star in?
Catcher in the Rye, and I have a theory on it. First of all, no one can get the rights to Catcher in the Rye. It's a thing. Yeah, I've done a lot of investigation on this. But the reason I say Catcher in the Rye is because it used to be one of my favorite books, and I really had to examine why. Like, why was I so familiar with this young white boy moving through New York doing nothing in particular? Like, I was okay reading 200 plus pages of that, right? And it speaks to just familiarity that I've had to have with mainstream culture. And I think a signifier of us feeling like diversity and inclusion is infrastructural is when you see a new identity placed in a position of a Holden Caulfield, in which you're saying you're okay watching this person. You're so invested in this person's being that they don't have to have some crazy plot line, no crazy breakthrough epiphany moments, and you're okay watching that, just them exist on screen.
I think that narrative might get you the rights. I'd watch that.
Dear J.D.
Can I play?
Salinger.
Can I play?
Yeah,
Can I be in it?
that's what I'm saying. We need so many iterations of Catcher in the Rye. It's not even that book in particular. I want to see that for everybody because it's a sign of being invested, and it's a sign of then saying, like, you were worthy of my time and my $12 and every other thing I had to do to show up to be at this movie theater.
And it also respects the fact that for so long, certain narratives were just invisible, and now we get to tell them through like traditional stories, which is really beautiful. I love that. Next question, last question.
Hi, my name is Melissa. Hi, Yasha. Hi, Charles. My question I wanted to ask you both is, have you kept anything from the set, like any props from your characters?
Yes. So the suit that you see me wearing, Daniel, I think we had four versions of that suit, and the shoes, the sneakers, we only had one pair. I kept the suit and I kept the sneakers, and I remember they were like, Charles, like, let us dry clean it. I was like, no, my sweat's in it. I want to keep it. Like, I'm not gonna wash it. This probably explains the mold in my closet, but it's fine.
And I kept my jacket. And we also had many versions. We had maybe 3 jackets that we traded out. Mind you, like we're shooting New York in the summer, so these clothes do not smell good. But yeah, the jacket was just such a pivotal moment of the book and then of my character. And you know, I wore that thing. It's funny because somebody made note of like, because we didn't get to change clothes, all the small tweaks I would make to my outfit throughout it, like I would make a choice to be like, this sleeve is gonna be rolled up. Now I'm tying my jacket around my waist. And so my jacket became a character in this. And it was that's the one thing I kept.
Yeah, and to add to, yes, off of that, yeah, it was, for me, it was the buttons. All right, this scene, it's this button. Charles, how many buttons? 2. I'm like, okay, 1, 2. Ties in the pocket, okay. Charles, no, button it up. That's 5 buttons. That's too many. So.
Continuity is very important,
Yes,
as
it
we've
is.
learned from Game of Thrones with that Starbucks cup.
Wait, say what?
Game of Thrones Starbucks cup.
Don't talk about the 4th or 5th episode. I
I
haven't
will.
seen it yet.
Oh, no, I didn't ruin anything.
There's a storyline where they go to Starbucks. I'm sorry to break it to you.
Well, guys, like I said, this film was so much fun for me to watch for so many different reasons. One, it isn't, we didn't even mention it, it is an education in a lot of ways. There's these really great explanations of things that I think viewers are really gonna connect to and enjoy. And hopeless romantics around the world will finally feel seen with this film because you do leave it believing in love, which is so great. So if you guys wanna check out The Sun Is Also a Star, it hits theaters this Friday, May 17th. Please put your hands together for Yara Shahidi and Charles Melton.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.